Hey, my friends, it's Graeme Street, and welcome to Cyclo Hit Session number 1 for the Masters Training Edition. One of my favorite workouts, a bread and butter workout, the Seated Tension Master. On your bike, please. We'll begin warm-up. As per usual with any kind of hit session, this is a high-intensity training session, so if you're not feeling 100% today, better to come back and fight another day. We'll begin with warm-up, about 5 minutes progressing to lower end zone 3. Small ring in the front. About 19 or lower in the rear. Everyone's got a different bike, a different setup, so keep that in mind. When I'm calling out gears today, do your best to stay within the gear ranges that I have, but at the end of the day, the most important part is staying within your training zones, which I will have available for you here on the right-hand side of the player module as you're doing the workout. Today's objectives, obviously, building muscular endurance. As you know, one of the most important things we can do as an everyday cyclist is build higher levels of muscular endurance. We're going to do that today entirely seated, so seated power all the way through. Our overall set ranges will be between 65 and 80 RPM. As you'll find out in this video and many others here in the Masters Edition, cadence dictates power. And that cadence is going to dictate our power as we're building muscular strength today for the workout. Overall, this is Zone 3 Plus Builder. Again, this is why it's a bread and butter style training program. This workout in particular is going to help you build the muscular endurance you need from everything from road cycling, endurance riding, mountain biking, track cycling. It does not matter. This is a go-to for building overall muscular strength in your legs, your core, your back, cadence control, muscular endurance control at a relatively moderate level of intensity. Let's gear it a little bit harder. We're going to start just progressing the overall tension as we move through the set here, warming up. We're working with a push-pull action, obviously. So pushing through the front of the pedal stroke towards the 5 o'clock position, and then scraping back. You know, muscular endurance really comes down to how well you are organizing your pedal stroke, how well you are efficiently pedaling forward to rear. Relax the upper body as much as you can, keeping your core engaged and strong. I will be reminding you of that during the workout. And of course, breath and gear control. Breathing is the first and last place you always go to during a workout, a particular strength workout. You want to keep your breathing relaxed, your upper body, your lungs open, receiving oxygen, receiving good air, so you can keep on pipelining that air right to your working muscles. Obviously, within this workout, because muscular endurance is the key factor, we're going to be working with a relatively lower cadence than we would in other workouts. This workout is not designed to tap into your anaerobic or high aerobic capacity. We're looking to build or bridge the strength from your core to the bike for other workouts that allow you to build greater levels of power at higher intensity output. Continuing to warm up here. Eventually we're going to move up here to the big ring. Right now, keep your cadence the same. This is obviously going to jump your power up, jump up your speed. Get your body ready for the tension that's coming. Consider this workout almost like a strength training platform that you would do at a gym with leg presses, squats, things of that nature. Instead, we're doing that strength training here specifically on the bike. Engaging the core, pushing forward through the hips, scraping back through the hamstrings and glutes. Good upper body position. In general, we're going to be in the hoods for the upper body position for this workout, the tops and the hoods. We will have a couple sets here, obviously, that we're going to be in the drops. Teaching your body to maintain good tension and power or force production in multiple positions is critical as a master because, remember, it's not just about how much power we can throw out, but what we can sustain in a given position for a length of time. We're going to prep set number 1. Set number 1 is going to be 5 minutes long. Seated power, 65 to 70 RPM range, zone 3 plus intensity. That goes for both heart rate and power output. So if you're using a power meter or a trainer road with this program or workout, obviously I've got it noted here for your Zone 3 Plus, which requires you to really get a good understanding of your threshold, which hopefully you have tested already and have a good idea of where that threshold number is. We're going to be just below that threshold number for the majority of the workout. We're going to drift a couple times into threshold, and that'll be about it. Get ready for set number 1 to start here in a second. And we will start set 1 now. 5 minutes. Seated. Big ring. Your choice for your gear in the back. 17 all the way down to 12. It depends on how strong and how good you're feeling today. Remember, each person's got a different bike, a different setup, a different gear range. Your objective is to stay within the RPM zone, first and foremost. 65 to 70 RPM for the first set here. Zone 3 Plus is the intensity target we are looking for, just below threshold. That goes for both your heart rate and your power in this case. Remember, up to and not exceeding Zone 5, we can still use heart rate as a gauge for intensity. You should have nice amount of tension in your hips, your legs, your back, channeling from your center down through your knees, into your feet, and projecting that energy into the bottom bracket or the center of the bike and letting it push out through the rear and propelling you forward through the front. Hand position on tops. We can move between the tops and, of course, the hoods and or the drops as we move through the sets and through the workouts, and I will be moving you to the drops a lot more here in the Masters program, mostly because it's not just about how much power we can throw out, but how efficient we are at moving through the air and through the wind. More strength and more power doesn't have much value if we're not getting in a better overall position. Make sure you fuel and stay hydrated properly during the workout. I usually use just water for these workouts. No extra calories unless I'm looking for a performance gain during the workout, where in which I may have a little bit of sugar just prior in the form of a gel or a chop block just before I begin the workout. But in general, during the off-season or base phase, it's usually just water. No calories for the HIIT sessions, before, during, or after. Upper body is relaxed. Do your best to continue to look forward during the majority of the sets and workouts. Get your body used to looking down the road or up the trail. We're still 5 minutes seated here. Again, your gear range is going to be up to you. 17 teeth all the way down to 12 in the rear. For some of these, if you can get down to the 11 tooth for some of the later sets, absolutely a benefit. The smaller the gear in the rear, the smaller the amount of teeth, the more tension or force production capable. Cadence dictates your power. So your cadence range is ideal here at 65 to 70. You're like a duck in water. Intensity is just below threshold. So if your threshold is 200 watts, you're right now at about 185 to 190 watts. If your threshold heart rate or zone 4 heart rate is in the 160 zone, then you're at about 155, just below. Channeling our energy through our feet into the pedal, scraping back to the hamstrings and glutes. Solid power. Overall, this is one of my most prized workouts or styles of workouts. You can use it both here on the trainer with the HIIT sessions, which we have here for the Cycle 90 Masters program, as well as for the outdoor rides and workouts. This is your real practice grounds, though. This is where you get to practice being as stable and relaxed as possible as you are generating great deals of muscular endurance for longer and longer durations during the workout. Expect to see more consistency with your power output on the trainer than you would see outside on the road or on the trails. nearly impossible to maintain this level of power or this sustainability of even power out in the real world. You're going to see more of a static power jumping and spikes because of the change in tarmac, trail conditions, wind conditions, road conditions, everything. On the trainer, we're in a more controlled environment. This is where you can really begin to isolate building that tension in a quality way. I still say building tension on the trainer has more value than doing it outside. And already we are almost done set number 1. Prepare for a quick break. And we'll kill it, recover. I'd still stay in the big ring if I was you, but just simply move to an easier gear in the rear up to maybe the 25, all the way down to the 19. Increase your cadence just slightly. During the recovery phases for this workout, you want to be taking the recovery as much as you can with a higher cadence, lower tension. We will prep for set number 2, which will be 6 minutes long. We will be doing left-right floats. So as one leg is the driver, one leg is the floater. So one leg is in charge of creating the majority of the power, while the other leg is coming around for the ride. Much like in set number 1, 65 to 70 RPM is the RPM range, and we are still isolated at zone 3+. This is where you want to be making note of your power left to right to show you the efficiency or lack thereof in your left and right side. Everyone has discrepancies. My left leg is my weaker leg out of the two. And we will start with our leg now. Left leg is the driving leg. Right leg is coming around for the ride. Slightly bigger gear, 17 or below. Again, it depends on your strength level and how good you're feeling today. Left leg is doing the work. The right leg is simply coming around for the ride. This requires you to shut your brain down on the right side as the left leg is doing the work. You're trying to maintain an even and stable upper body during this phase, so you should not be able to tell what leg of mine right now is the driver in this particular phase. As far as you know, I'm pedaling evenly with both legs. But right now my left leg is doing the majority of the work, my right leg is just coming around in the circular fashion for the ride. Left leg is in control, and we're getting ready to switch over to the right leg in control here in just a second. Watch your cadence range. Don't let it drift. Try to stay isolated at 65 to 70 RPM, and we'll get ready to move to zone 3+. And we'll switch to the right leg. Right leg is now the driving leg. The left leg is the float leg. Gears remain the same. Cadence remains the same. Intensity remains the same. The only thing that is differentiating now is the fact that the right leg is in control. Watch your power numbers on your boards if you have a power meter available. If you're using Trainer Road, see if you can see some differences in your power output. For me, unfortunately, I'm using the Stages power meter, which is the crank-based power meter on the left side driver arm. So when I switch to right leg as the driver, my power goes down dramatically, so it doesn't give me a good indicator of right to left balance. It's one of the weaknesses of the Stages power meter, which overall I like. It's effective, inexpensive, very light. The battery always goes dead, which is a bit of a pain, but that's another discussion. Right leg is in control, left leg is coming around for the ride, and we're getting ready to switch back to the left leg, and we will do that now. Left leg becomes the driver, right leg is now the stowaway, coming along for the ride. Left leg is in control. If you've made the gear harder, which I do recommend you try to do from time to time here as we progress through the set, if cadence remains the same and the gear gets harder, meaning we go from the 17, say, to the 15, or the 15 to the 14, or the 14 to the 13, obviously as the gears increase in their tension production and we maintain the same RPM range, obviously power and intensity goes up quite dramatically. 20, 30 plus watts, maybe more, depending on how big of a gear shift you've done. Left leg is in control, right leg is coming around as the float leg. And we will get ready to switch here back to the right driver. And we will do that now. Right leg becomes in control, left leg goes into the float mode. It should feel nice as you transition over. If you're feeling like you are having to contort your body to do that, we need to work some more on your core strength and flexibility. Again, to the observer, you should not be able to tell if the right leg or left leg is in control. Right leg is in control right now. It's the driving leg. As big of a circle as you can give me. This is when you want to use that big wagon wheel approach. So you are kind of over accentuating the size of that circle. Of course, the circle doesn't change at all. It's just changing how you internally use your muscles. Remember, your brain and central nervous system is in control here. And as a master, you need to constantly reinforce that. Your brain dictates the efficiency of your body, not the reverse. This is your practice area to practice these things. And we'll get ready to shift back to the left leg as the driver. We will do that now. And if you can bring me to a larger gear, please do so. That means drop a cog. If you're in the 17, you're going down to the 15, 15 down to 14, 14 down to 13. As long as you can maintain that range. If you drop below 65 RPM, you're going to have to go back to your easier gear. Or if you drift simply too high above zone 3 plus or above zone 4, you need to go back to an easier gear. Remember, keep your eye on the ball for this particular workout. Muscular endurance is the goal. And that should be hurting by now. With that big of a gear, I think I'm down into the 13, big ring in the front, 65 to 70 RPM. It's generating good power. More than likely, probably drifting into your zone 4 power now. Left leg is in control. Right leg is coming around for the ride. And we will be switching it here in a second. Get ready to switch. Now, right leg becomes the driver. Left is now into recovery mode. Big power. You're maintaining the same gear you were just in. So if we started the set with the 17, you are now down into the 15 or below. We progress it each round. This is the last part of this round. Keep the core engaged. You'll see me constantly touch sometimes my quadriceps or my hip flexor area or my core area or my hamstring area. I do that to give my body a sense of where the muscles are while they're in action. This helps to reinforce that mind-muscle connection. Remember, we're not outside. We don't have to worry about traffic or any of those things. So trying to remind your body of what's going on and reinforce that, this is where you want to do that work as a master. Almost done this set. Right leg is the driver, left leg is the floater. Relaxed in the upper body. Remember, always go back to your breath, and we will complete the set now. Recovery, 1 minute. Move to an easier gear. Again, I maintain still the big ring in the front, but I move it all the way up to about the 25 or so in the rear. Increase the cadence, drop the tension, and your overall intensity should drop down into the zone 2, zone 3 area. Next set, 9 minutes. 3 by 1 minute in cadence. 65, 70, 75 RPM jumps. We'll go a gear harder every 3 minutes. So pick, I'd probably say in the 19 to 21 range in the rear. And then each time we increase per round, we have 3 rounds here, we will increase the amount of power output by dropping to a harder gear and raising the cadence in that stationary period. We will start at 65 RPM here. Again, pick your gears accordingly. I'd probably say 19, 17 in the rear, and we will start now. 65 RPM is your range target for your RPM. It might take a second to adjust to that. Don't expect it when you come into the set. It's boom, directly at 65. Give yourself about 3 or 4 seconds to catch into that area. Zone 3 plus power. Your heart rate will take a couple seconds to get up to that level, so be patient. And again, your gear selection. 17 down to 11. Now, if you already start at the 11, you got no place to go here per round. So keep that in mind. Your power is going to go well above zone 4 by the time you finish the set. Right and left legs are even. Relaxed in the upper body. Watch how my heel is not dropping. I'm maintaining about a 10 to 15 degree downward pointing angle in the foot at all times to the best of your ability. Get ready to increase cadence now. Just simply maintain the same gear. Slightly increase your cadence, 5 RPM only into the 70 RPM range. You will now begin to see power and intensity begin to do what? It will go up just slightly. You should probably be now touching on your zone 4 power. Zone 4 heart rate will begin to climb here shortly. Be patient with the heart rate. It always lags behind the power just a little bit. 70 RPMs is the target. Now you see how fine and micro-controlled we're talking about now. 5 RPM difference can jump your wattage at the same gearing. What? 10, 15, 20 plus watts. It depends on the ranges you have between your cogs. If it's a big jump, say 3 teeth, then it's going to be a much larger jump. If it's only a 1-tooth differential, then it's a much smaller jump at the same cadence. And get ready to increase the cadence once again, and we'll do that now. 75 RPM, same gear. Again, you are not shifting gears just yet. We'll do that on the next minute. You should now be at zone 4 plus for your power output. So for me, I'm at about 325, 330 watts at this point, give or take. Relax in the upper body. And you're smoking at 75 RPM. This should be stinging you by now. If it's not, you're not in a big enough gear. Your heart rate should be finally creeped up to your threshold heart rate or just slightly above by now. And of course, your power is just above threshold FTP. Now, get ready. We're going to move into round 2 here. We're going to move back down to 65 RPM, but we're going to increase the gear. Ready? Drop your cadence to 65, and if possible, move to a larger gear. That simply means drop to a smaller cog in the rear. So if you were in the 17 before, you now move to the 16 or the 15. Again, it depends on the differential you have in the rear. If you're on a stationary bike, you just need to basically increase the tension and drop the cadence range. 1 minute here at 65 RPM. Your power should still be between zone 3 plus and probably for many of you, depending on the gear you've selected, into zone 4 plus. If you picked a hard gear right from the start, say the big ring in the front and the 12 in the rear, that's a big gear. And that means that you're going to basically only have cadence to play with. You will have very few gears, if any, left to play with. And we will get ready to maintain our gear here and increase our cadence. And we will do that now. 70 RPM. So you're slowly, and I mean slowly, accelerating from 65 to 70 RPM without changing your gear. You should now be at a solid zone 4 level effort. And it should be consistent and in control. Steady breathing, long inhales, powerful exhales. Scraping the heels, scraping the body backwards. Engaging the glutes and hamstrings is critical here. Muscular endurance really needs to activate those glute muscles, your butt muscles, your back muscles. This is what's going to really help you with your climbing, your long duration climbing, your long endurance rides. This is the practice area right here. As a master, you need to get more fine-tuned control. Doing great. Make sure you stay hydrated. And get ready for the 3rd minute of this round. Minute number 6, we will jump to 75 RPM, slowly accelerating your leg speed from 70 to 75. Again, it's very hard to see here the acceleration of my legs because we've only jumped 5 RPM. However, that increase in 5 RPM at the same gear set is increasing my power 15 to 20 plus watts. And of course, that conversely is increasing your power output into that zone 4 plus category. So you are now about 15 or 20 watts above your threshold. Your heart rate is, again, steadily increasing as we move down the set into both harder gears and into higher cadences per round. This is round number 6, or minute number 6 here in set number 3. Again, a 9-minute set. We have the last round coming up. We will drop all the way back down to 65 RPM, and if possible, increase the gear again. More and more tension. Get ready. Now, slow your leg speed down, drop it down to 65 RPM, and if possible, give me a bigger gear. This is an important set. This is a 9-minute muscular endurance set. This is a tough set. You should feel like your legs are ready to explode. If they're not, you are not in the right gears. You're too easy on yourself. You need to build that tension. If you are feeling any kind of joint pain in your knees or your hips, you're going to need to back it off today and allow your body to move back in. That's the one downside of muscular endurance building, especially in this setting, is if you try to really overshoot those gears and just put it into 12 or 11 right away, and you don't have the strength to back it up, you're going to grind on those joints. You want to keep all the tension in your quadriceps, your hamstrings, the lower leg, the core, the glutes, the lower back, in the muscles, not in the joints. 65 RPM is the set right now. We are getting ready to accelerate our leg speed without changing our gear. We will do that now. Simply accelerate just a little bit from 65 to 70 RPM. You'll see the power begin to go up. Heart rate will begin to creep up 1 or 2 beats per minute. And again, your selection of the gear in the back is up to you. If you can go a cog harder, if this is the 3rd or 4th time you have done this workout during the Master's program, now is your time to try to jump the power output at that same RPM. And you do that, of course, by moving to a harder gear in the rear. Drop a cog. Good body position here. Don't let your head sag towards the floor. No slumped shoulders. Open up your airways. Keep the pipeline of oxygen coming in. If you slump over, you close that corridor down. And when you do that, you suffocate your working muscles. And right now, they need a lot of oxygen coming in. Big breaths out. Get the toxins out of your body. And get ready to move to 75 RPM. Are you ready? We'll do that now. Again, maintain the same gear. If you can increase the gear range, feel free to do so. Just fair warning, you might blow yourself apart. This is not the workout to blow yourself apart. You want to maintain control as a master within this particular workout. 75 RPM. Zone 4 plus should be now your power output. You should be just above your threshold output. So if your threshold is 250 watts, you're right now at about 265, give or take. You are above that number. We're here for a brief moment in time, and muscular endurance building is the key objective. Your legs and core should be ready to explode by this point. As much as you're hurting right now, I am not going to give you a break. We're going to move directly into set number 4. It's going to be 3 minutes long. 70 to 75 RPM is your range. Basically, you're giving me your best muscular endurance effort for the remainder of the workout. 3 minutes. Your objective at this point is to push your limits of muscular endurance. So give me the biggest gear you can handle. Give me the sustained cadence of 70 to 75 RPM. I believe I am down in probably my 12 in the rear, big ring in the front, and cranking out at 70 to 75. Now your upper body here is going to be critical in doing some push-pulling movements if necessary. If you can maintain a nice relaxed upper body, more than likely you don't have a big enough gear on the bike. This is where the upper body begins to pay off with muscular endurance building. You're connecting your upper body through your spine, through your core, through your hips, down to the pedals. Pushing through the hoods is ideal. You'll see my triceps begin to flex here. My biceps begin to flex. One of the reasons those are happening is I'm trying to get more power from my core down into my legs, and I'm subsequently through the bike. At this point, you are fighting the bike. You're fighting the fatigue. You're fighting the muscular endurance breakdown. All through your hips. Do not put your energy into your joints. Put your energy into your working muscles. That's what they're there for. This is your moment now. All of the other work that we've done in this set means nothing if you can't begin to push the limits in this barrier here. Watch your cadence range. If it's dropping below 70, the gear is too hard. If it's easily coming above 75, the gear is too easy. You should be right there in the sweet spot. Your power output right now is borderline mid-zone 5. So you're at VO2 max level output for your power. Heart rate more than likely is still at zone 4 or your functional threshold, possibly about 2 or 3 beats above. Come on now. This is your moment. Remember, we've talked about this before, and as a master, you have to execute it. You get 1 or 2 moments per workout. And this 3 moment period is when you need to exert that energy. You got to go through your pain now. I'm going through the pain. I'm feeling the pain. I'm feeling the burn. You've got less than a minute to go. Don't quit now. Don't back off. This is your moment. Engage the core. Engage your butt. Power it up, my friends. You're doing awesome. Scream it out. Yell it out. I don't care what you have to do. I don't care if your wife and your kids think you're crazy. Get that energy out of your body. This is your last moment to do it. Big circles. Almost finished, my friend. And you are done. Excellent workout. I want you to stay with me if possible. Now, one of the things with the HIT 40 sessions is I've extended the cool downs, which I would advise you do whether you watch my coaching vid that comes along next after this or not. Please extend your cool down 5 or 10 minutes, small ring in the front, drop your heart rate to zone 2. The most important thing is to get the toxins that you've built up during this workout out of your body so you can increase recovery. Remember, being a master is more than just how hard the workout is. It comes down to how quickly you recover after. Cool coaching session number 1, and we're going to go over muscle tension mastery. Stay with me. How you like them apples, man? That's a hard workout. That muscle tension master is one of my personal favorites. For a lot of you, it's either going to be a workout that you excel at, where I'm going to keep progressing you further and further with the workout and you just keep on taking the punches, or you're really going to struggle here. For a lot of you, you're probably going to struggle with this workout, and it's mostly because we don't have a foundation of muscular endurance. Now, I've talked about muscular endurance before. To me, muscular endurance is the cornerstone of all cycling progressions, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced, or pro. Always going back and reaffirming and reestablishing your muscular endurance season after season will yield you higher rates of return on performance, speed, endurance, weight loss than any other thing that I can give you. Now remember, this workout is really centered around building your hip, core, and leg strength. Kind of think about it like a weight training session on the bike. Obviously, we have a lower cadence range between 65 and up to about 80 RPM. That cadence range is designed to not hyperactivate our cardio or our aerobic system too much, because if our heart rate begins to spike too high, I can't tax the musculature or the force production enough. So keep that in mind. You shouldn't see zone 5 or zone 6 heart rate for this particular workout, and if you are, it's usually an indicator that overall we've got some fitness in general to gain. Now I've got some notes here that I want to go over with you. Obviously this is a coaching session, so I want to be as focused as I can. Hopefully you're still doing your cool down nice and easy, get that heart rate lower, get those juices out of your body, and of course crack open that beer if it's 5 o'clock somewhere. All right, look, how to progress this particular workout. Obviously, it's a static video, so it's the same workout every time you do it, but there's many ways that you can progress this workout every time you come back and give it a try. The most obvious one is increasing your gears. So if you, for instance, if you were on the big ring in the front, for me that's a 50 size chain ring. For some of you it might be 52, it might be a standard 53. Obviously that's going to make a big difference with how much gear you're actually pulling and pushing. If you increase that size, you increase the demand on the musculature for your body. It's just that simple. In the rear cassette, if you were previously doing this workout primarily maybe on the 17 or the 15, and by the way, and you should know this by now if you are a master, knowing your cog range in the rear, your smallest, which is typically 11 or 12, and your largest, which is typically between 25 and 27, maybe up to 30 teeth in the rear cassette. Knowing that range is important, and more importantly, knowing what gears you were in for particular parts of the workout can help you make progress. So for instance, if you were in part of a set and you were a big ring in the front and you were 15 in the back, well, if you come back 2 or 3 workouts from now and do this, and you go from 15 down to 14 or even down to 13 and maintain the same RPM and achieve the same net result at the end, you just put a monster hit into your muscular endurance or force production boosting ability. Notice that? Now, obviously, at some point, you can only gear so much. And I want to give a warning to everyone, especially since most of you are in the masters category, 35 plus, 40, 50, 55 plus, 60 plus. Watch out for your knees. If you haven't done a lot of muscular endurance work before, I'm assuming if you've been with me, you've done quite a bit of it. As we lower the cadence range and increase the tension, great. We want those working muscles to get basically that ongoing solid set of tension all the way through the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the glutes, the core, the adductors, the abductors. Everything working in harmony, constant tension. If you don't have good form or you're not used to doing this, be warned. Your knees or your joints can start to take a lot of the punishment as opposed to the working muscles, especially if you have poor form. This is why during the workout I keep on reaffirming again and again your foot position, working through your core, working through your hips. It's pivotal that you maintain as good of a position as you can while you're rotating through. If you begin to slop, okay, and you're having to struggle in the upper body, your hips begin to wobble, you begin to go up and down in the saddle, I would rather have you move to a slightly easier gear to tension your hips and quads and hamstrings and allow your form to come back. I really, in general, don't want you sacrificing your form just for the ego trip of a bigger gear. It only can progress to a bigger gear when the form remains solid. And obviously you're going to find your tipping points. And that's why every time you come back, you can begin to progress that further. Second way to progress this workout is focusing on smoother rotation. So you hear me talk about the wagon wheel, that big giant circular outside the body imaginary object you're thinking of when you're doing the pedal stroke. You want to begin to smooth that out, almost like what I call the duck and water approach. Serene on top and just rock solid underneath. No bobbing, no wobbling. If you can begin to solidify that stronger and stronger, tighter and tighter, almost like power yoga, almost like isometric training, where you are compressing your core, compressing your spine in a nice, solid, consistent way to continue to transfer more and more tension or force production into the bike, you will yield higher power outputs in the same gear. I know it seems strange. Well, if I'm in the same gear, same cadence, then power will remain the exact same. That could not be further from the truth. And go ahead and try it yourself. Try to only pedal through the front arc from 12 o'clock to maybe 5 o'clock. Only push the pedals forward and see what happens to the power if you're using a power meter or a trainer road. Watch how it begins to go down from what it was. Now try to just pull the pedals and only pull the pedals. Again, you're going to find an oscillation. And now try to keep continual tension through the entire wagon wheel the whole time. What you'll tend to find is power will go up. And power will go up because you're becoming more efficient and smoothing out that pedal stroke. And again, that's the end result, is that we want that gear and that tension to yield you more and more power return, or the same power for less effort, so less cost to your body. Remember, that's the whole end game, is the efficiency component. You can throw out as much power as you want, but if you're not efficient with your power, it doesn't do you much good when you're out on your bike. Rock steady is the term that I like to use here. Again, that duck and water approach, relaxing the upper body. That takes some practice. You probably saw me struggling here today. I'm a little deconditioned from the bike from all the running that I've been doing, and that's had a big issue with me with my upper body and my core connection to my hips to stabilize when using bigger gears or higher tension. Getting in the drops is another great way to progress this workout. This is a tough one. Now, you saw me in the drops a couple times during the workout. I could have been a real dick and asked you to be in the drops the whole time. Now, as you get stronger as a master, is there benefit to you to do this workout ongoing or every now and then in the drops the entire workout? Absolutely. Because if you can get your body teetered over further, narrower, and continue to generate that same level of wattage in the same big giant gear, that's going to have a payoff for you in speed and performance like nothing else that I can probably teach you. So absolutely, and again, the reason why is that if you're producing 300 watts in that giant gear, but you're all propped up to have to do it, and you get down low and in the drops, and you see that power begin to go down, we want to try to maintain that power and get what?
more aerodynamic. Because remember, it's your wind resistance you're fighting against on the bike that's the biggest determinant of how much speed you're going to have. So if you're throwing out 300 watts, but you're propped up into the wind, you might be going only 18 miles an hour. If you throw out that same 300 watts and get nice and low and tucked in away from the wind or to the best of your ability, you might be going 20, 21, 22 miles an hour. You seeing the difference between those two things? Same wattage, same energy output, faster performance and speed. Don't forget that. Lastly, integration with this workout. Man, I threw some real curveballs in the Cyclo 90 Masters training plan. Again, I expect most of you to be veterans of the Cyclo 90 programs, so yeah, I made this one harder and more focused on pure fundamentals. What you'll see is, of course, bringing what you're practicing in the HIIT sessions outside to the in-ride workouts. I've extrapolated a little bit more of using muscular tension building outside on the bike, obviously. I do encourage you to use as many variety of bikes as you can. I know for me, for muscular tension building outside on the bike, I'll be using my mountain bike, sometimes on the road, sometimes on single track, sometimes on dirt roads. I'll be using my cross bike. Very rarely am I out on my road bike in particular for the off season. I prefer to be on my cross bike with big fat Randon A tires, same ones I use for D2R2, or my big fat mountain bike tires, or of course my single speed. And the reason that I do that is I prefer to train with a heavier bike. It sways me away from worrying about my overall speed or my average speed, because when you're training for muscular endurance during this phase, speed means shit. It doesn't mean anything. What's important is your consistency of power production and lengthening out how long can you hold that big gear. 5 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. By the time you hit the end of the protocols, we want you to be holding that muscular endurance, that muscular load for 60 minutes plus. Ideally at your zone 3 or zone 3 plus heart rate and power output. That will have a yield of performance all season long. That's why during the off season, this phase is so critical, because we have to have that base of muscular endurance to get what we want in return. You'll see the combinations of the cyclo iron workouts either before or after. Ouch. Be forewarned, that is a killer combo with this workout. And last, of course, the HIIT combos of using this particular workout. Typically, I'll bunch it with a neuromuscular workout, a higher spin rate, but keep in mind, it'll have an effect from workout to workout. So if you floored yourself in this one, you'll have a ramification in the next one right after. So if you see a decrease in performance with a combo setup, expect that. Okay, you shouldn't see an improvement in performance going into round 2, regardless of the workout. Especially with this one, because it's going to tap out a huge amount of your muscular endurance. When you go into a neuromuscular capacity next, it's going to be more challenging than it was if you just did that workout by itself. It's the combination and progressions that make these workouts go. My friends, I hope this is helpful. I hope that workout is one of your favorites as well. If it's not, you do need to work on it. It will pay off, I promise. Keep me posted of how you're doing, and we'll talk soon. Hopefully it's Miller time. Well, not Miller time. Hopefully it's IPA time or some kind of quality stuff. Don't drink that crap. I'll talk to you later.